Thank you for tuning in to leaddeveloper.com, where we simplify complex property development feasibilities, investment analysis, and everything real estate. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, our Google Sheets-based feasibility suite streamlines the toughest aspects of real estate. Lead Developer Feasibility Suite is trusted by thousands in over 17 countries. Our tools cover everything from quick assessments to detailed cash flow projections and more. Sign up today at leaddeveloper.com for unlimited free access to our expanding library of real estate tools. No credit card needed. Plus, get full support through Edge with step-by-step guidance, exclusive courses, and resources designed for your success. Turn numbers into narratives that win over investors and lenders. Join Lead Developer now.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are going to be tackling a topic that is absolutely essential for any real estate enthusiast. It's intrinsic value.
Yes.
We're diving into a source that's all about making this idea exciting and accessible.
Okay.
Using analogies like designer dresses, secret sauce, and even superpowers.
Yeah.
You ready to unlock the secrets of what makes a property truly valuable?
Absolutely. It's so fascinating how often we get caught up, in the frenzy of the market, focusing on trends and bidding wars.
Yeah.
This deep dive is all about taking a step back and understanding what gives a property lasting worth.
Right.
Regardless of all those fluctuations.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Okay.
Our source defines intrinsic value as the inherent worth of a property, independent of market ups and downs.
Yes.
Like a property's DNA.
Uh-huh.
The fundamental qualities that make it valuable no matter what the market is doing.
It's almost like a property's North Star guiding you through the sometimes chaotic world of real estate.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's about recognizing those enduring characteristics that will always hold value.
Right.
Even when the market takes a dip.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
But let's get practical.
Okay.
Why should someone care about intrinsic value?
Right.
How does understanding this concept actually help them make smarter decisions?
Think of it this way.
Huh?
Imagine you're looking at two properties,
Okay.
both priced similarly. One is a trendy condo in a hot neighborhood,
Okay.
but the area is known for its fleeting popularity.
Okay.
The other is a well-maintained house in a stable, sought-after neighborhood with great schools and amenities.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
The condo might seem like a good investment now,
Right.
but what happens when that trendy neighborhood loses its appeal?
Exactly. That's where intrinsic value comes in.
Okay.
The condo might have high market value right now, but its intrinsic value could be lower due to the transient nature of the area. The house, on the other hand, likely has higher intrinsic value because of its location
Right.
in a consistently desirable neighborhood,
Yeah.
even if its current market value is slightly lower.
So intrinsic value helps you see beyond the hype
Exactly.
and make a more informed decision.
Yes.
You're not just chasing trends.
Right.
You're investing in lasting value.
Precisely. It's about identifying properties that are likely to appreciate steadily over time because of their inherent qualities,
Right.
not just because of temporary market conditions.
That's incredibly helpful. But how do you actually determine a property's intrinsic value?
Right?
It can't just be a gut feeling, right?
Absolutely not. There's a method to the madness.
Okay.
Our source provides a recipe for intrinsic value,
Okay.
breaking it down into several key ingredients.
Okay, I'm all ears.
All right.
Let's get cooking. What's the first ingredient we need to whip up some serious property value?
First up, we have cash flow.
Okay.
This is all about a property's ability to generate income. A property with strong rental income, for example,
Okay.
will typically have higher intrinsic value.
Right.
Think of it like a steady stream of revenue adding to the property's inherent worth.
So it's not just about the purchase price.
Right.
It's about the potential income a property can generate over time.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense, especially if you're looking to build long-term wealth through real estate.
Exactly. And this is where analyzing rental yields and operating expenses becomes crucial.
Right.
A property with high rental income might seem attractive, but if the operating expenses are also high,
Right.
the actual cash flow could be much lower than you expect.
So it's about looking beyond the surface numbers
Yeah.
and really understanding the financial dynamics of the property.
Yes.
That's a great point. What's the next ingredient in our intrinsic value recipe?
Next, we need to consider capital growth potential.
Okay.
Is the property located in an area that's expected to appreciate in value over time?
Right.
This is about looking at the big picture. considering factors like population growth, economic development, and even infrastructure improvements.
So we're not just looking at what's happening in the market right now,
Right.
but we're also trying to anticipate future trends.
Exactly.
Sounds like it requires some serious research and foresight.
Absolutely. Understanding capital growth potential goes beyond just looking at past trends. It's about analyzing zoning regulations, understanding planned infrastructure projects, and even studying demographic shifts.
Okay, so we're digging deep into the economic and social factors
Yes.
that can influence a property's value over time. What else should we be factoring in?
Of course, we can't forget about the physical elements of the property itself.
Right.
This is where location really comes into play.
Yeah.
Imagine two identical houses,
Okay.
one situated on a quiet, tree-lined street near parks and good schools, and the other located on a busy road with limited amenities.
Yeah, choose the quiet street in a heartbeat. It sounds much more appealing even if the houses themselves are identical.
Exactly. Location is a huge factor in intrinsic value.
Yeah.
Think about things like proximity to public transportation, walkability scores, access to green spaces, and the quality of local schools.
It's all about those lifestyle factors
Yeah.
that make a property and its surrounding area desirable.
Right.
Those are the things that people are willing to pay a premium for.
You got it. And beyond location, we also need to consider the build quality, size, and design of the property itself.
Okay.
A well-maintained house with solid construction and a functional layout will typically have higher intrinsic value than a poorly built or awkwardly designed house,
Okay.
even if they're in the same location.
So it's about evaluating the quality and functionality of the physical structure itself.
Right.
Are there any specific details we should be paying attention to?
Absolutely. Think about the materials used in construction, the condition of the roof and foundation, the efficiency of the heating and cooling systems,
Okay.
and even the overall flow and layout of the space.
It's about looking beyond the cosmetic finishes
Yes.
and really assessing the bones of the property.
Hmm.
Want to make sure it's built to last and will require minimal maintenance in the long run.
Precisely. And a well-designed property that's both beautiful and functional
Right.
will hold its value much better than a poorly designed one, even if they're the same size and in the same location.
This is all starting to make so much sense. We've got cash flow, capital growth potential,
Yes.
and the physical elements of the property itself. What else is in our intrinsic value recipe?
Now we're getting into the more nuanced aspects of intrinsic value.
Okay.
We need to consider scarcity and uniqueness.
Okay.
Think about properties that are rare or one of a kind in some way.
Like a historic Victorian mansion or a beachfront property with panoramic ocean views.
Exactly.
Those types of properties are inherently valuable because there are only so many of them.
Scarcity creates inherent value, and then there's uniqueness.
Okay.
Does the property have special features that set it apart? Maybe it has a stunning garden, a private rooftop terrace, or original architectural details that can't be found anywhere else.
Those are the kinds of details that add character and charm, making a property truly stand out from the crowd.
Precisely. And while those features might not always be quantifiable in purely financial terms, they contribute significantly to a property's intrinsic value and its overall desirability.
This is fascinating. So we're not just looking at the tangible aspects of a property,
Right.
but we're also considering those intangible qualities that make it truly special and appealing.
Exactly. And our source also highlights another interesting aspect of uniqueness: redevelopment potential.
Okay.
A property with the potential to be expanded, renovated, or even repurposed for a different use
Okay.
can have significantly higher intrinsic value.
That makes sense. It's like built-in flexibility giving the owner options for the future.
You got it. It's about recognizing the potential for a property to evolve and adapt to changing needs or market conditions.
This is all so insightful. So it sounds like intrinsic value is really about looking beyond the superficial
Yes.
and understanding what makes a property truly special and enduring.
That's exactly right. It's not about chasing the latest trends,
Right.
but rather identifying those timeless qualities that will stand the test of time.
Right.
And as our source points out, sometimes intrinsic value can even include those subjective elements, like personal or historical significance.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing the deeper story behind a property.
I love that. It's like uncovering the hidden gems of the real estate world. Those properties with a soul and a story to tell.
You know, there's another point our source makes that I think is really important to clarify.
Okay.
It's a distinction between intrinsic value and replacement cost.
Okay.
They use this brilliant analogy comparing building a sandcastle to owning a castle on the beach.
Wait, hold on a second. This is where things get really interesting.
Right.
Our source makes a brilliant distinction
Okay.
that I think will completely change how you view property values.
Okay.
They use this analogy comparing building a sandcastle to owning a castle on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Can you break that down for us a bit further?
Absolutely. The sandcastle represents the replacement cost,
Okay.
purely the expense of rebuilding a property if it were destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
It takes into account current material and labor costs,
Okay.
but doesn't consider the land value, market demand, or any sentimental value.
Right.
The castle on the beach, with its location and ocean view, represents intrinsic value.
So replacement cost is a very basic calculation.
Right.
It's simply asking, what would it cost to rebuild this exact structure right now?
Yes.
But intrinsic value takes a much broader view, right?
Right. Intrinsic value considers a much broader range of factors,
Yeah.
including the property's income-generating potential, market trends,
Okay.
location condition, and future prospects. It includes both tangible and intangible factors.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we've got intrinsic value, the deep down worth of a property based on a multitude of factors, and replacement cost, the practical cost of rebuilding it.
Yeah.
Two very different concepts.
Exactly. And understanding that distinction is crucial for
Yeah.
making informed real estate decisions.
Right.
It helps us avoid overpaying for properties based solely on their replacement cost,
Okay.
and instead focus on those with strong intrinsic value.
Right.
Think about it. You wouldn't pay the same price for a beachfront property with stunning views
Right.
as you would for an identical house built in the middle of a desert.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
The location and those incredible views add immense intrinsic value to the beachfront property.
Precisely. And that's why it's so important to look beyond the basic cost of rebuilding
Yeah.
and really understand all the factors that contribute to a property's true worth.
This is all such valuable information. I'm feeling so much more confident in my ability to assess properties now. But how can someone listening put all of this knowledge into action? What are some key takeaways they should keep in mind when evaluating properties?
That's a great question. First and foremost,
Okay.
I would encourage our listeners to always go beyond the listing price and the hype. Don't get swept away by flashy marketing or emotional appeals.
Right.
Instead, take the time to do your research
Okay.
and truly understand the factors that contribute to a property's intrinsic value.
Okay.
Analyze its cash flow potential, its location, its physical characteristics,
Okay.
and its potential for future growth.
So it's about being an informed and savvy investor.
Yes.
Not just a reactive buyer. Take your time, do your research, and don't be afraid to dig deep.
Precisely. Remember, real estate is a long-term game.
Right.
By focusing on intrinsic value, you're
Yeah.
setting yourself up for success in the long run.
Yeah.
You'll be able to make informed decisions, avoid costly mistakes,
Right.
and build a portfolio of properties that will continue to appreciate in value for years to come.
This has been such an enlightening deep dive. I'm feeling incredibly empowered to tackle the real estate market
Good.
with a newfound understanding of intrinsic value.
Yeah.
What about you? What are your thoughts so far?
You know, as we've been discussing the importance of focusing on long-term value, I can't help but wonder if our source material touches upon
Okay.
any potential pitfalls or challenges
Right.
that investors might encounter when trying to determine intrinsic value. After all, it's one thing to understand the concept,
Yeah.
but it's another thing to actually apply it in the real world.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's all well and good to talk about intrinsic value in theory,
Yeah.
but in practice, there are always going to be practical considerations and potential obstacles to navigate. What do you think, does our source offer any insights or guidance on how to address those challenges effectively?
I think so.
Okay.
Remember how they emphasized understanding a property's DNA?
Yes.
That's a crucial first step.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than just identifying the basic elements. We need to go deeper
Okay.
to analyze how those elements interact and influence each other.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Okay.
What do you mean by that?
Well, for example, a property might have great cash flow potential,
Right.
but if it's located in an area with declining property values, that strong cash flow might not be enough to offset the potential loss in capital appreciation.
So it's not just about analyzing each ingredient in isolation,
Right.
but also understanding how they work together
Yes.
to create the overall picture of a property's intrinsic value.
Exactly. And our source also hints at another potential pitfall.
Okay.
mistaking intrinsic value for replacement costs.
Right.
It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that a property's value is simply the cost to rebuild it.
Right.
But as we've discussed, intrinsic value goes far beyond the bricks and mortar.
Yes.
It's about the location, the potential, the unique qualities that make a property truly desirable.
That's a really important point. How can investors avoid making that mistake?
I think one of the key strategies is to really do your homework.
Okay.
Go beyond simply looking at the listing price or the recent sales in the area. Dig into the details of the property's history,
Right.
its location, its potential for income generation,
Yeah.
and any unique characteristics that might contribute to its intrinsic value.
It's like being a real estate detective. Uncovering those hidden clues that reveal a property's true worth.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to seek out expert opinions.
Okay.
Talk to experienced real estate agents, appraisers, and investors who have a deep understanding of the local market and can provide insights into a property's intrinsic value.
So it's about tapping into the collective wisdom of those who have navigated these waters before.
Yes.
That's a great tip.
And remember,
Okay.
assessing intrinsic value is not an exact science.
Right?
There's always an element of subjectivity involved. It requires a combination of careful analysis, market knowledge, and a bit of intuition.
It's a bit of an art and a science, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes it so fascinating and challenging.
Yeah.
It's not a simple formula. It's a process of discovery and evaluation.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling incredibly empowered by all of this knowledge. I'm ready to go out there and start uncovering those hidden gems of the real estate world.
Me too. And remember, the journey of understanding intrinsic value is an ongoing one.
Yes.
It's about constantly learning, refining your skills, and developing your own intuition.
It's like honing our superpowers as real estate investors.
Exactly. And with each property we analyze,
Yeah.
we become more adept at recognizing those enduring qualities that create lasting value.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. I feel like we've covered so much ground, from the fundamental definition of intrinsic value to the practical challenges of assessing it in the real world. And we've only just begun. There's so much more to explore.
Absolutely.
But for now, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned.
Okay.
What stands out to you as the most important takeaway so far?
You know, while we've been focused on individual properties, this concept of intrinsic value also applies on a larger scale.
Oh, okay.
Think about entire neighborhoods.
Okay.
What makes a neighborhood truly desirable? What are the factors that contribute to its long-term appeal and value?
That's a fascinating thought. We've been so focused on the micro level, analyzing individual properties, that I hadn't even considered the macro perspective. But you're right, the same principles apply. A neighborhood with strong intrinsic value will likely hold its value better over time, regardless of market fluctuations.
Exactly. And I think that's a great segue into our next segment.
Okay.
Let's explore how this concept of intrinsic value plays out at the neighborhood level. What makes some neighborhoods thrive while others struggle? What are the factors that create a sense of place and community leading to lasting value and desirability?
I'm already intrigued. This is going to be good. Let's dive in.
Okay. Welcome back. It's amazing how this idea of intrinsic value can really shift your perspective, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've been kind of dissecting, individual properties, but now, as promised, let's zoom out and look at entire neighborhoods through that same lens.
Ready to explore this bigger picture. It's like we're putting on our urban planning hats for a bit.
Yes.
So what makes a neighborhood truly desirable in the long run?
Right.
What are those intrinsic qualities that create that lasting appeal and value?
I think back to those key ingredients we discussed earlier.
Yeah, okay.
Location amenities, the sense of community, even the history embedded in its streets.
Right.
These all contribute to a neighborhood's overall appeal and long-term value, much like they do for a single property.
It's like a recipe for a thriving community.
Yeah.
A neighborhood with strong intrinsic value is a place where people want to live, work, and play.
Yes.
Which naturally drives up demand and, in turn, property values.
Exactly. Let's unpack those ingredients a bit further.
Okay.
Location at a neighborhood level might mean proximity to the city center, access to major transportation hubs, or even being situated in a desirable school district.
Those are all factors that families and young professionals often prioritize when choosing a place to live.
Right.
So a neighborhood that scores high on those aspects will inherently have more appeal.
Precisely. And then there are amenities.
Yeah.
Think about things like parks, green spaces, walkable streets, bike paths, vibrant shopping districts,
Okay.
and a variety of restaurants and entertainment venues.
Right.
These are all elements that enhance the quality of life
Right.
and contribute to a neighborhood's overall desirability.
It's about having everything you need within easy reach, right?
Yes.
A place where you can live, work, and play without having to constantly hop in your car.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of community spirit.
Right.
A neighborhood with a strong sense of community,
Oh,
where neighbors look out for each other and participate in local events, tends to be more resilient and desirable.
It's that intangible feeling of belonging, of being part of something bigger than yourself.
Yes.
That can be incredibly valuable, especially in today's fast-paced world.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about a neighborhood's history and architectural character.
Right.
Historic districts with beautifully preserved buildings, unique architectural styles, and a sense of the past often hold a special allure.
It's like stepping back in time. Those neighborhoods have a story to tell.
Yes.
A sense of authenticity that you just can't replicate in a newly developed area.
Exactly. And those stories, that sense of history, contribute to a neighborhood's intrinsic value.
Right.
People are often willing to pay a premium to live in a place with character and a connection to the past.
This is all making so much sense.
Yeah.
So whether we're talking about a single property or an entire neighborhood, intrinsic value is all about recognizing those enduring qualities that create lasting appeal and value.
Yes.
It's about looking beyond the superficial trends.
Right.
And understanding what makes a place truly special and desirable.
You got it. And, as we've been discussing the importance of focusing on long-term value, I can't help but think about how this concept of intrinsic value applies, not just to real estate, but to other areas of our lives as well.
Ooh, I love where you're going with this. Expand on that for me.
Okay.
How does this concept translate beyond bricks and mortar?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
We all make investments in different areas of our lives, not just in real estate.
Right.
We invest our time, our energy, and our resources into our careers, our relationships, our health, and our personal growth.
That's so true. We're constantly making choices about where to allocate our most valuable assets.
Exactly. And I think the concept of intrinsic value can be a powerful tool for making those choices.
Okay.
It's about recognizing what truly matters to us, what has lasting value beyond the fleeting trends and distractions.
So it's like applying that same discerning eye to all areas of our lives.
Yes.
Instead of chasing after what's flashy or popular, we're focusing on what aligns with our deepest values and aspirations.
Precisely. It's about making choices that will bring us long-term fulfillment and happiness, not just short-term gratification.
Right.
Whether it's choosing a career path, nurturing a relationship, or pursuing a passion. Intrinsic value can guide us towards making decisions that are truly meaningful.
This is such a powerful insight. It's like we've taken this concept from the world of real estate and applied it to the broader landscape of life.
And, I think that's one of the most fascinating aspects of this deep dive.
Yeah.
It's not just about learning how to make smarter real estate investments,
Right.
but also about gaining a deeper understanding of what creates lasting value in all areas of our lives.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating a mindset of discernment.
Yes.
Recognizing what truly matters.
Yes.
And making choices that align with our deepest values.
So as we kind of wrap up this segment on neighborhoods,
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Thinking about those key ingredients we discussed,
Yeah.
location, amenities, community spirit, history, which one do you think is the most important? Or are they all equally crucial?
That's a great question. And it's one that doesn't have a simple answer.
Right.
I think the relative importance of each ingredient can vary depending on individual preferences and circumstances. For some people, location might be the most important factor.
Right.
They might prioritize being close to work, good schools, or specific amenities. For others, community spirit might be paramount. They might be looking for a place where they feel a sense of belonging and connection.
And for others, it might be that unique blend of history and architectural charm
Right.
that draws them to a particular neighborhood.
Exactly. It's about understanding your own priorities and values.
Yes.
And then seeking out neighborhoods that align with those values.
Uh-huh.
There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
That's such an important point. It's about finding the right fit for you.
Yeah.
The place that resonates with your soul and aligns with your vision of a fulfilling life.
And, as we've been discussing these different ingredients of intrinsic value,
Yeah.
I'm struck by how they all seem to be interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
They don't exist in isolation, but rather work together to create a synergistic effect.
I see what you mean. A great location can attract desirable amenities.
Right.
A strong sense of community can enhance the appeal of a neighborhood's history and architecture.
Yeah.
And all of these factors can contribute to a sense of place,
Right.
that intangible quality
Hmm.
that makes a neighborhood truly special.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like a beautiful tapestry woven together with different threads, each contributing to the overall richness and beauty of the design.
I love that analogy. It's about recognizing those interconnected elements.
Yeah.
Those subtle nuances
Yeah.
that create a vibrant and thriving community.
And, I think this idea of interconnectedness extends beyond just neighborhoods.
Right.
It applies to our lives as a whole.
Yeah.
The choices we make in one area of our lives can ripple outwards, influencing other areas.
That's so true. Our work can impact our relationships.
Uh-huh.
Our health can affect our career aspirations.
Right.
And our passions can infuse our lives with meaning and purpose. It's
Yeah.
all connected.
Exactly. And I think that's an important takeaway from this deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about understanding intrinsic value in isolation,
Right.
but also about recognizing how it weaves through all aspects of our lives.
Yes.
It's about making choices that are aligned,
Mm-hmm.
that create a harmonious balance,
Right.
and that lead to a life that is both fulfilling and meaningful.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like we've taken this concept of intrinsic value
Yeah.
and expanded it in so many directions,
Yeah.
from individual properties to entire neighborhoods, and now to the very fabric of our lives.
I agree. And as we move into our final segment,
Okay.
I'm curious to explore how we can practically apply this concept of intrinsic value
Yeah.
to make smarter decisions in all areas of our life.
Me too. Let's dive into those practical strategies and insights.
Okay. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been on quite a journey exploring this concept of intrinsic value, haven't we?
It really has.
From dissecting individual properties
Right.
to understanding what makes entire neighborhoods thrive. It's been fascinating to see how this idea can be applied in so many different ways.
It's been a thought-provoking exploration for sure.
And now, as we head into our final segment, I'm excited to shift our focus to the practical side of things.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about theory, but how can we actually use this understanding of intrinsic value to make smarter decisions in all areas of our lives?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
I mean, it's one thing to kind of grasp the concept intellectually, but how do we translate that knowledge into actionable steps?
Right. How do we actually become more discerning in our choices and prioritize what truly matters?
Our source touched on this earlier, remember?
Yeah.
That analogy of intrinsic value being like a property's superpower.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great way to visualize that inherent potential, that hidden strength waiting to be unlocked.
Right.
But how do we tap into that superpower? How do we make it work for us?
I think that's where the real magic happens. It's about moving beyond simply recognizing intrinsic value to actively cultivating and maximizing it in every area of our lives.
Yeah.
But how do we do that? What are some practical strategies we can implement?
I think the first step is to really define what intrinsic value means to you personally.
Okay.
It's not a one-size-fits-all concept.
Gotcha.
What are those core values? Those enduring qualities that resonate deeply with you. What are the things that bring you joy, fulfillment, and a sense of purpose?
That's a great starting point.
Yeah.
It's about getting crystal clear on your own personal definition of what truly matters.
Right.
It's like creating a compass to guide your decisions and choices.
Exactly. Once you have that compass, you can start applying it to all areas of your life.
Okay.
Let's start with something tangible,
Right.
like your career.
Okay.
Are you in a job that aligns with your values and passions?
Mm-hmm.
Does it offer opportunities for growth and learning? Or are you feeling stuck in a role that drains your energy and doesn't tap into your full potential?
Those are some tough questions,
Yeah.
but they're essential questions to ask ourselves.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the daily grind and lose sight of the bigger picture.
Right.
But if our work isn't aligned with our intrinsic values, it's likely to lead to dissatisfaction and burnout in the long run.
Absolutely. And the same principle can be applied to our relationships.
Okay.
Are we nurturing connections with people who support our growth and well-being?
Hmm.
Are we investing our time and energy in relationships that are mutually beneficial and enriching?
Right.
Or are we holding on to relationships that are draining or toxic?
Relationships can be one of the most challenging areas to navigate.
Uh-huh.
It's easy to fall into patterns of codependency or to stay in relationships that no longer serve us out of fear or obligation.
Right.
But recognizing the intrinsic value of healthy, supportive relationships can give us the courage to make necessary changes.
Exactly. And it's not just about romantic relationships.
Ah.
It's about all the connections in our lives, our friendships, our family relationships, our professional networks.
Hmm.
Are these relationships contributing to our overall sense of well-being and fulfillment?
It's about being mindful of the energy we're exchanging in these relationships.
Yeah.
Are they giving us energy or are they draining us?
Right.
Are they helping us grow or are they holding us back?
Those are great questions to reflect on. And let's not forget about our relationship with ourselves.
Yes, that's so important.
Are we prioritizing our physical and mental health?
Mm.
Are we engaging in activities that bring us joy and nourish our souls?
Right.
Are we investing in our personal growth and development?
Self-care is often the first thing to go when we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed.
Right.
But recognizing the intrinsic value of our own well-being can empower us to make it a priority.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that we are worthy of love, care, and attention.
Right.
It's about making choices that honor our own needs and aspirations.
This is so powerful. It's like we've taken this concept of intrinsic value, which we initially explored in the context of real estate,
Yeah.
and expanded it to encompass all aspects of our lives.
And, as we've been talking, I've been thinking about how this concept can also be applied to our finances.
Oh, okay, interesting.
It's not just about accumulating wealth, but about managing our finances in a way that aligns with our values and supports our long-term goals.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
We often think of finances in purely quantitative terms.
Right.
How much money do we have? How much are we earning? How much are we spending?
Mm-hmm.
But what if we also considered the intrinsic value of our financial decisions?
Exactly. Are we spending our money on things that truly matter to us?
Right.
Are we investing in experiences that enrich our lives?
Mm-hmm.
Are we supporting causes we believe in? Or are we caught in a cycle of mindless consumerism, spending money on things we don't really need or that don't bring us lasting satisfaction?
It's about being mindful of our spending habits and making sure they're aligned with our values and goals.
Precisely. And it's not just about spending, it's also about saving and investing.
Okay.
Are we saving for a future that excites us?
Mm-hmm.
Are we investing in our own education or in opportunities that will allow us to grow and expand our horizons?
It's about using our financial resources as a tool to create a life that is both fulfilling and meaningful.
Exactly. And I think that's a beautiful way to summarize what we've been discussing today.
Yeah.
This concept of intrinsic value is about so much more than just real estate.
Right.
It's about cultivating a mindset of discernment,
Mm.
of recognizing what truly matters,
Yeah.
and of making choices that align with our deepest values and aspirations.
It's about seeking out that inherent worth, that unique spark in everything we do and every decision we make and in every relationship we nurture.
Yeah.
It's about creating a life that is rich,
Right.
meaningful, and filled with purpose.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive. It's
Yes.
been an absolute pleasure exploring this concept with you today.
The pleasure was all mine.
Yeah.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has sparked a new awareness,
Mhm.
a new way of seeing the world and the choices we make within it.
Yes.
Remember, intrinsic value isn't just a concept, it's a way of life.
Uh-huh.
Embrace it, cultivate it,
Yeah.
and let it guide you towards a life that is truly fulfilling and meaningful.
Until next time, keep seeking out that intrinsic value, those hidden gems that make life worth living.